All right, so we've been talking about the antibody response, and we had talked about complement and how it ties in with the antibody response. Now, when we talk about antibodies, we actually have five kinds of antibodies. And I'm going to sort of scoot out of the way so that you can see the board as I talk. Now, after the B cell is activated and it becomes a plasma cell, the first class of antibody to be secreted is the one we call an IgM. And IgM have an unusual shape. We had said antibodies look like this. That's what we tend to think of it and generalize to. But the first class of antibody that is secreted, the IgMs, for about the first 2 weeks after activation, you produce IgMs, and they're like a snowflake-like structure made up of five IgG, of those little Ys. And then what happens is over time, the plasma cell shifts from producing the IgMs to producing IgGs. And when you do an analysis of gamma globulin proteins in the blood plasma, 80% of the antibodies are going to be the IgGs, and this is this one that we draw a picture, like that, because most of them are IgGs. So that's two of our different kinds of antibodies. Now we have, you might say, well, gosh, we have these wet surfaces, our nose, our mouth, our eyes, sweat. We have these areas which might be great places for pathogens to try and gain entry into our bodies. And they would be, except that we have IgA antibodies present in these body fluids, and they're there to help deal with pathogens in these areas. When I was talking about the B cells, when I was talking about the B lymphocytes, I said, how did we describe them? We said it's a cell with antibodies on its surface, IgD. The IgD antibodies are the antibodies that are present on the surface of the B lymphocytes. It's the only place you have IgDs. That's 4. Number 5 is IgE. And these are the antibodies that are going to cause us problems with allergies. And in the next slide, I'm going to talk about how IgEs activate basophils, produce the inflammation response, and then we'll talk about allergies and how sometimes this can go wrong. Okay, that's next.